Tattva bheder adhilokanato lokan alokan sahalokapalan achiklapadyatra hi sarvasattva nikaya bhedo adhikrita pratitaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme King of all kings has created different planets and places of habitation where living entities are situated in terms of the modes of nature and work, and He has created their different kings and rulers. Purport. Lord Krishna is the chief king of all kings, and He has created different planets for all kinds of living entities. Even on this planet, there are different places for inhabitation by different types of men. There are places like deserts, iceland, and valleys in mountainous countries, and each of them there are different kinds of men born of different modes of nature, according to their past deeds. There are people in the Arabian deserts and in the valleys of the Himalayan mountains, and the inhabitants of these two places differ from one another, just as the inhabitants of the Iceland also differ from them. Similarly, there are other different planets. The planets below the earth, known as down to the Patala planet, are full of various kinds of living beings. No planet is vacant, as wrongly imagined by the modern so-called scientist. In Bhagavad Gita, we find it said by the Lord that the living entities are sarvagataha, or present in every sphere of life. So there is no doubt that on the other planets there are also inhabitants like us, sometimes with greater intelligence and greater opulence. The living conditions for those of greater intelligence are more luxurious than on this earth. There are also planets where no sunlight reaches, and there are living entities who must live there due to their past deeds. All such plans for living conditions are made by the Supreme Lord, and Vidura requested Maitreya to describe this for the sake of further enlightenment. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta book. I think this was sometime in the year 1990s, 1995 or so. I'm not sure exact year. The emails were not as commonly used as it is today. They are just only very few elite people were using emails, and only in defense, in Indian Institute of Science and such premier institutes, they had started using email. So first time when I started using email, I was very excited. I sent an email to my elder brother, and the reply came. What is so normal and natural today was not natural and normal those times. Because those times, if you have to communicate to anyone, I remember when I was in college in the year 89-90, we used to go to, if urgent message has to be sent home, there was no mobiles, STD had just started, and if you have to send a message, you have to actually go to a postal office, and telegram you can do it, and that too only some, every word costs. So those were the days when every message, if you have to give, you have to think. Every word, every letter in the telegram is 30 paisa, 50 paisa something. So I had just started using email, and it was free. Telegram means you have to send a message. Every word, every letter costs money. So when I started sending message, the reply came, my brother is staying in Bombay and I am sitting in Bangalore, and I sent a message and the reply came. Then I thought there's so much of potential, preaching potential. So then there was also a CC. Not that you have to send separate mails, you can put many names in the CC. So 2-3 names I put, and in one shot all the 3 people got the message. These days, you have WhatsApp group, 80 WhatsApp groups, each of them having 250 people, send a message, goes to all of them. So just think, how was the mentality there? 3 people simultaneously, one shot got the message. You don't have to send three telegrams. So then I thought, okay, it's very important that we should preach the message. So every day from Bhagavatam, I would pick up one verse. I said, I'll make them devotees now. Finish. They will not otherwise read Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So every day I'm going to, and so every day I'll take up one translation from Bhagavatam and started sending some 8-10 people. So I was excited and they were also appreciating. Very nice, very nice. Maybe they're not reading, but to encourage me. It's very nice. So then came a day when in the Bhagavatam, I was sending some Chitraketu, that pastime, that portion of Bhagavatam. So then came the translation. I was sending the translation only. Chitraketu had 1 million wives. I got scared. If I send this to them, they'll think either I am mad or from the book which it is picked up. Chitraketu had 1 million wives. Okay, 5 wives, 10 wives. Okay, still Krishna is Supreme Lord, 16,000 wives, acceptable. With difficulty. Here 1 million wives, where will they be staying? I was not willing to accept. Forget about sending it. So then, in scriptures we have like this statements, and we all have a worldview based on how we have grown up, what we have studied in schools, colleges. It doesn't tally with that. Here it is said, Bhagavatam is saying that living entities are everywhere, sarvagaha. Prabhupada says, Krishna spoke this to, it's there in the Gita, I spoke to Sun God Vivaswan. And we are still not sure whether life is there in the nearest moon, planet. In our solar system, it's just one of the small part of this galaxy, millions of stars, each of them having its own family of planets. We are not even sure of life exists or not in the nearest planet. Forget about the universe. So here Bhagavatam is saying it's there everywhere. In all the planets, inhabitants are there. And that's why many times people, they call this as mythological stories. They cannot put faith because it doesn't tally with the worldview which science has given us as we have grown up. It doesn't tally. So whom do we believe? Our worldview, which is based on science, based on scientific facts, observation, or should we believe our scripture, some Rishi Muni, something they are writing, millions wives everywhere, no scientific basis, no evidence, simply you have to believe, blind faith. So we all have a worldview. Worldview means how we view the world. Everyone has a worldview. Even an ant has a worldview. I was reading an article, you may be surprised, how the bats, they have a worldview. Bats also have a worldview. When we walk around, how do we observe things? Because of eyesight, the light rays, suppose I am walking, there's a pillar in the front. Actually the light which is going and reflected back from the pillar, with that I can sense the pillar is 4 meters. When I come close to the pillar, I will turn so that I don't crash with the pillar. So I observe the world through my eyes. Bats, you would have probably heard, they don't observe with the eyes. You'll see bats flying. Sometimes they may come inside a hall, they will be flying. Even they fly in the night. Night, there's no light. They make a sound, squeak, and that sound is thrown, it gets reflected from the surface. From that calculation, they can figure out how far is that object and they will not crash. Suppose in the night time there's no light, bat will be flying in this hall, will not be hitting anything. There's no light, they're not observing things. So they are making sound, the sound is striking the objects, it's coming back, and from that they can sense how far is that object and they will accordingly maneuver. So in their worldview there is no colors. There's no colors in their worldview. Our worldview, there are colorful objects, green trees, leaves, flowers, red color, rose. For a bat, rose is black in color. So it is also a living entity, a soul which has a worldview. It also is feeling. Just think about it. For us, everyone, this is the worldview and it's absolute. No. They are living entities who have a worldview which is quite different from us. There was a movie made called Flatlanders. It's a movie, it's a very popular movie. It's an animation movie called Flatlanders. Just like we have some objects which are two-dimensional, like rectangle, length and breadth, square, triangle. These are two-dimensional things. And then there are three-dimensional objects. Example, sphere, cube, length, breadth and height. So they are three-dimensional. Now, in our worldview, we are very familiar with three dimensions. This movie, Flatlanders, is all about a world where there are only two dimensions. Length and breadth. There is no height. And they are saying, what will be that world be? And we, because we can observe three dimensions, our normal worldview is three-dimensional worldview. We have length, breadth, height, everything. That's why, we have special glasses which we can, even pictures we can get into three-dimensional view. But scientists have now started questioning, because we have a worldview where there are three dimensions, what is the guarantee that there are additional dimensions existing in the reality which we are not able to observe? Just like for those people who are having two-dimensional worldview, for them, third dimension is an impossibility. So I'll share with you a quote from a very eminent scientist. He says, this is very important for us to understand, otherwise we'll think the scriptures are all fictitious, superstitious. Simply because we have surrendered, we have to believe all this. Somehow we'll believe also, now what to do, we have surrendered, can't go back also. We don't have to feel sorry like that. In fact, we should feel encouraged that so-called Nobel laureates, so-called eminent scientists also don't know what we know. No physical theory. This is a very eminent scientist. I don't have the name right now, but we can definitely find very eminent scientist writing. No physical theory dictates that there should be only three dimensions of space. All the scientific theories does not dictate that there has to be only 3 dimensions. Sometimes theories, this theory of relativity or something is only possible if there are 3 dimensions. He says, no physical theory dictates that there should be only 3 dimensions of space. Although we can't see with our eyes or feel with our fingers, additional dimension of space are a logical possibility. Although we are not able to see, because seeing is believing, we want to see everything before we believe. Other dimensions we are not able to see, we can only see length, breadth, height, 3 dimensions. He says, although we can't see with our eyes or feel with our fingers, additional dimensions of space are a logical possibility. Our senses register only 3 dimensions. So, extra dimension might sound incredible. It may look, oh, it's a fantasy. It's superstition. Because we are able to perceive only 3 dimensions. Our senses register only 3 dimensions, so extra dimension might sound incredible. But an unseen dimension is one of the bizarre possibilities. It's a possible. Existence of an additional dimension is one of a bizarre possibility. Now, in the end, he says, if someone were to ask me, the scientist is saying, do I believe in extra dimension? I confess I do. So in other words, the worldview, what we have not, because we have not done experiments, we have not gone to Mars, we don't know what's there in the Mars, one day we'll find out. Even the dimension in the world we are living, the earth planet we are living, in Hyderabad city what we are living, what we are seeing is not necessarily complete reality. Forget about where we have not gone. Okay, today we have not gone to moon, not gone to Mars, therefore we don't know what's there. Even here sitting right now, the reality is incomplete. Because we are only seeing 3 dimensions, the additional dimension, the scientist is saying, do you ask me, if someone asks me, is there additional dimension? I confess I do. I do believe that the additional dimension is possible. We are not able to see. So here Bhagavatam is saying that the living entities are present in all the planets. Earlier, they were very, very confident and sure that on the moon planet, apparently after having gone there, they found that life on the moon is not possible because so many reasons. Water body is not there, gravity is not there. So all what is required for the life to thrive is not there. But then there was an article that they have figured out there are some water bodies near the pole of the moon, and there is a likelihood, there is a possibility of life existing there. So in other words, it's a very sorry state of affairs. We are groping in darkness because we want everything to be perceived with our eyes, with our senses, and then we will accept it as a reality. But our scriptures are saying that we cannot perceive the reality with our senses because our senses, we all have 4 inherent defects. All of us have heard it many times. We have cheating tendency, we are likely to commit mistakes, we are subject to illusion, and our senses are imperfect. So with this limitation, inherent defects in our senses, we'll never be able to perceive the reality if we were to have a condition that I will believe only if I am able to perceive through my senses. We'll never be able to have the reality. I many times give this example. Let's say a small insect or an ant, in this hall, somewhere some small hole. If it comes out, it also has an understanding of world. It also has an understanding of world. It can also sense danger. Suppose an ant is moving, you put a finger near the ant, it will turn. So it means it is understanding the world. That ant, assuming is very, very research oriented, is wanting to figure out, is equivalent of a scientist and scientists. They do research, observation. So that ant, if we were to find out what is this world, so the ant will come, let's put a telescope also in the hands of that ant. Maybe a telescope, nice, equivalent of Hubble telescope, maybe of ant size. And that ant is observing. I'm also very proud that I have a telescope, now I can know the world, now I can observe what's going on. So that ant is observing. He'll go in circles seeing this chandelier. If it's a very powerful telescope, he'll probably be able to see this. And go and write a paper on what this world is. This world is like a chandelier. So it can never know what is Mumbai, what happened in Guwahati 2 days back. It can never know by observation. It can never know if it is to know the world through sense perception. But there is a reality which is existing. So our case is also, our position is also like that. We are like that small insignificant ant in this whole creation. According to science, like this Milky Way galaxy which we are part of, there are billions of galaxies. According to science, not according to our scriptures. Our scriptures say, there are millions of universes. And in the universe which we are living, they are like Milky Way, because we all are students of science, so we should respect what science is saying. According to science, just like this Milky Way, in which our galaxy, in which there are millions of stars, each of them having its own family of planets, like that there are billions of galaxies. And we are in a very small, insignificant planet which is part of a solar system of one star called the sun. So how can we know the reality of this entire universe? Who created this universe? The purpose of creation? By our sense perception. So, when we get spiritual knowledge, we understand how small, insignificant we are. Coupled with humility, I am a small, insignificant jiva. I have limited sense perception. Can't even control myself. How can I control things? When that living entity develops that humility, surrenders to the Supreme Lord, surrenders to a bona fide spiritual master. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalake. You open our eyes with torch of knowledge, we are able to sense some bit of the reality. Otherwise, out of arrogance, we can just miss out the things. Once there's an article in BTG, Back to Godhead magazine. Science also is trying very hard to know the reality. There are many, many scientists who are actually trying to seek the truth, although they have limitations, because mainly it is through sensual perception. That's their understanding. If they have to believe in something, it should come within the domain of our sense perception. So there was one expedition through submarines, and science is going everywhere, trying to what's happening in the deserts, what's happening under the water. And that's how we see, people using the scuba divers with oxygen tanks, going, collecting samples, understanding what kind of life forms exist there. All kind of research is happening. Man is curious by nature. So this one expedition, they went in a submarine and collected water from deep within an ocean. Ocean, because as we all know, within the earth, there is molten lava. It's quite hot. And that's how volcanoes sometimes, this molten lava, through some things just spurts out. That's how we have volcanoes. And oceans, we always measure height in terms of above sea level. This mountain is 2,500 feet above sea level. Sea level is considered as a base. Sea level. But there are oceans which are miles deep. So imagine, from sea level you have depth miles. So that means you're closer to the earth center, relatively. And because of the pressure of the water, miles and miles deep, that much amount of water, like for example, one bucket of water, it's little heavy for us to do. One drum, difficult to carry. One bucket, we can carry. 40-liter water, most of us can't carry. So imagine ocean with miles and miles deep, that much amount of water, so much of pressure is there. And that pressure and the depth, because of which there are some fissures means some cracks, because of which that molten lava, that heat from within the earth and the pressure from the top, the water is bubbling at 660 degrees Fahrenheit. Anyone can quickly calculate how much does it cost Celsius, degree centigrade? What is the difference? Anyone knows? Huh? 348 centigrade. Okay. So they collected water samples from there. Just wanted to find what's there in that water sample. 660 degree centigrade, the water is bubbling and boiling, and they collected the samples from there. And when they brought that water samples, they found that there are some organisms living in that. Now, generally science says that when we heat water to 100 degrees centigrade, that's how we sterilize in operation theaters and all, they heat the water 100 degree boiling. Now there may be other solutions to sterilize instrument. Otherwise, in boiling water, you dip the instruments because of the heat. It will burn. It will destroy all the bacteria, all the organisms. At 330 degrees centigrade or 660 degrees Fahrenheit, the water is bubbling, and when they brought those samples, there are living organisms in those water bodies, water sample. So this was very surprising to them because it contradicts the theory what we have, that when you heat the water at 100 degrees, it starts boiling, you put anything, all the organisms are destroyed. So this is just to give you an idea that all what we know of the world, the worldview what we have, is not complete reality. Even just like now we have this pandemic, coronavirus, so much of people have put effort to understand it, to find a solution, to find a vaccine. Best of scientists, the best of brains the world over have worked to understand what this virus is. And now we have heard that there are newer and newer strains of viruses. That means we have not understood. We cannot have a complete moment we understand this, something else happens. So it is not fiction, it is not blind faith. We are not following this because, okay, it's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, mentioned in the Bhagavatam. so we have to follow. We believe in Krishna, so whatever Krishna has spoken is right, so it cannot be wrong. So although mind says it is wrong, now I have to follow. Not like that. Whatever is said here is 100% truth. I don't have to find out some ways and means to somehow convince myself that this may be reality. Initially, when our faith is Komala, we somehow do that. I was doing like that. Chitraketu had 100 million wives. Okay, better not send this verse. I skipped that. Actually, I skipped it. I never sent that. I am not convinced. How can I convince them? So this is a reality. In fact, we are able to see the world as it is. That's a different thing, that still we are in Maya, still we have not come out of Maya, still we have enjoying tendency, but otherwise Acharyas, Prabhupada is seeing the world as it is. That's why he is able to describe even Bhagavad Gita, which is describing about this world, about this creation as it is. He is Tattvadarshi. He has seen the truth. So, somebody may say, just because it's mentioned in the scripture, should I believe it? How can we put faith in our scriptures? Just because it's mentioned in the scriptures, I have to believe it? Actually, we don't have much options. To get a worldview, either we can form a worldview or have an understanding of the world basis what we observe through our senses. That's what science is doing. So one possibility of having a worldview is through observation, experimentation, perceiving through our senses. That's one. Second option is, what is the second option? Second option is my own opinion, what my mind is saying. That's second option. First option is the worldview which very scientifically, logically, which we have learned, studied through science. That's first option. Perceiving reality. Second is, there are some philosophers who have their own understanding of world. Philosophers. So that's second part. My mind is according to my opinion. I think. As per my understanding. I feel. So there are people like that who have a worldview basis what their mind says. So we saw that how mind can cheat us, subject to illusion. Senses are limited, inherent four defects. So first two, actually if you see first two options, even if our intention is right, the tools with which we are using is faulty. For example, a businessman having a weighing scale, his intention is not to cheat customers, but if the weighing scale is defective, or the weights which he uses to weigh is defective, 1 kg is actually 980 grams, then even if he is honestly weighing and giving, still he is committing a mistake. So that's second. First is through our senses, second is through what I feel, according to my understanding, my opinion. And third option of worldview, anyone? Third option is through scriptures, acharyas, through what the Lord is saying. Any other option is there? Fourth one. Revelation. It comes under the third one. Third one, any other? Learning, turning inwards. Inwards also you will, if you are doing it correctly, Paramatma will reveal. Because sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto, from me comes knowledge, remembrance and forgetfulness. If turning inwards without surrender to Lord, something else will come out. Some speculation will come out. Because inward means you're not connected to Paramatma, you're connected to your mind. And mind will say. Sometimes people ask this question, when thoughts are coming, how do I know it is coming from my mind or it's coming from Paramatma? If you are in Maya, then it's coming from mind. If you are Krishna conscious, coming from Paramatma. Lot of people try to go inwards without surrendering to the Lord. Actually, what all is coming is nothing but from the mind. If there is connection with us, now we are not criticizing somebody is very introspective sage. The ingredient for introspection is, have I surrendered to the Lord? Am I Krishna conscious? Then I can be doing introspection. Then the Lord will reveal to me. So the first two options, limitation. Third is what the scriptures are saying, what acharyas are saying, what the Lord is revealing. And is it a blind faith? Just because scriptures are saying we have to believe it? Our process is the process of faith and revelation. We have to have faith, which is also practiced in normal day-to-day living. These days, we have credit cards, we can do a lot of things online. Now, give you a crude example. Suppose somebody has to go to America, he will go online, he will buy a ticket on some online portals, Make My Trip or something like that. He will go and book the ticket, and his bank will physically be debited. Money will get debited from his bank. And suppose a person is wanting to travel 1 month from now. His money is gone. He cannot use that money. It's debited. Suppose a person has a lakh of rupees, 40,000 rupees is debited. Now he can draw only 60,000 rupees from bank. What he has got in return? What he has got in return is one email with one PDF attached. 40,000 gone from the bank. One email, PDF. So many free PDFs we got, right? We get one PDF file gets. It says, now somebody says this PDF is for 60,000 rupees. Can you prove that this is worth 60,000 rupees? Can you prove that this PDF file will take me to America? You cannot prove. You cannot prove. You have to wait for the day of travel. Go with that PDF printout to the airport. You'll be allowed inside. And then, boarding pass and all that things will happen. So you have faith that this PDF is actually a ticket which will take me to America. And when the day comes, that faith becomes a revelation. So likewise, our process is also pratyaksha avagamam susukum kartum abhyayam. It will become pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means evident. That there is life after death, Atma is moving from one body to another. It's evident. For a bhakta, it's evident. For big scientists, it's not evident. It's not pratyaksha, it is blind faith. So we have faith, and then we follow a process. That which is apparently blind faith becomes a revelation. That's why we have to go to a spiritual master who is Tattvadarshi. For him, it's revelation. He is seeing the truth. He is seeing the Lord face to face. He is telling about the Lord. He is like this. His mind is like that. His feeling is like that. He is expecting this from us. So we are very blessed. We have this wonderful purports, explanation, Bhagavatam, authorized scriptures, Prabhupada explaining to us so nicely. And if we are with humility, we approach this subject, we'll be able to see the reality, see the truth. We'll stop here. Anyone has any question? Anything like to ask? Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.